Hey guys and girls that may be watching this review. I'm probably the first one doing a SmackDown review for today. The first one ever on YouTube. It is 6:03 a.m. currently right now. SmackDown isn't scheduled to come on till 8 o'clock p.m. on Sci-Fi, but I have all the details right here. So I'm ready to do my review. Normally I do my review early Saturday morning around 1 or 2, but if you're my subscriber you will know that. But if you're new here, I'm doing this video right now for SmackDown review. So let's get started for SmackDown June 22nd, 2012, Friday. It took place from Baltimore, Maryland, my hometown. I wish I could have been there, but after this review, I'm kind of glad I watched it on TV because I'll get to why I didn't like this SmackDown as much. It was good, but the show started off with Teddy Long. Teddy Long has been the general manager of SmackDown for a long time. He started off as a referee back in like 2001, 2000. He worked his way up the ladder and he became the general manager. But Teddy Long came out to introduce Mick Foley as he was the guest referee for SmackDown for tonight. And next week it'll be Vicky. Now there's a rumor going around that Mick Foley could be a possible general manager. Mick Foley can have Raw and Teddy Long can have SmackDown. Or let Edge have Raw. Vicky had a chance. I really didn't like it. I'd like to see Teddy on SmackDown at least. If Mick Foley, he needs the money or whatever, let him have Raw. I mean, it wouldn't be such a bad idea. And then, before Mick Foley can... He announces, but Mick Foley doesn't come out. Teddy Long announces that Mick Foley will be the general manager of SmackDown for tonight. The weird thing is, we don't see Mick Foley for the first 30 minutes of the show. Normally, the general manager, if it's a special guest general manager, they come out within the first 5 or 15 minutes. We don't see him for a full half an hour of the show. So the Big Show comes out and interrupts Teddy Long announcement that Mick Foley will be the general manager of Raw. The Big Show comes out and basically says he doesn't care about John Laurinaitis being fired, even though he was one of John Laurinaitis' sidekick, since he has the ironclad contract along with David Otunga. But he also talked about how he's over Cena. He's done with the Cena storyline. Now he's moved on into Money in the Bank. But the thing that the Big Show failed to realize is that Brodus Clay was banned from being on Raw. But the Big Show was on SmackDown in the ring by itself, so Brodus Clay comes out. Now, Brodus Clay does manage to knock the Big Show down. And he was really putting a beating on the Big Show before David Otunga comes out of nowhere. Why is this guy on contract? He hardly is in a match. 90% of the time, he's drinking coffee. That has to be the easiest job in the world. Drink coffee and have matches for 5 or 2 minutes? Come on. Otunga comes out and attacks Brodus Clay's knee, knocks him down. And basically, the Big Show was able to, with the punch, knock Brodus Clay out. But then, after the Big Show's left, he's at the top of the stage. Otunga mocks, he taunts Brodus Clay. You know, the dance that he does like this, and you know that. He does, the music hits, he dances like Brodus Clay in the middle of the ring. The Funkadactyls were on the side near Michael Cole and Booker T and them. They were just watching. Wish I could have been there. It was in Baltimore. The crowd was live though. It was a good crowd though. It was way better than Long Island. If you missed that, you have to check out my Raw review. It's on my channel. The first official match was Del Rio versus Christian. Del Rio returned this Monday on Raw, which is crazy because he wasn't cleared to fight at Over the Limit No, excuse me, No Way Out. He wasn't cleared to fight No Way Out versus Sheamus, but he was cleared the next day on Raw. So the doctor couldn't let him go back to work one day early. Come on. He went against Christian. Christian has been back so far for a month. Christian, Layla, and Sin Cara have returned within the last month, and they've been using a lot. Like I said, if you've been watching me since I started 5 weeks ago, I've been saying the same thing in every video. So I'm not going to repeat myself, but it was Del Rio versus Christian. Christian, I don't know if he's going to be on SmackDown next week. Possibly he will be, but his arm was injured, really. And Del Rio was impressive during the match. It was a good match. I mean, he returned. This is his second match since returning from a concussion. He was good out there. I mean, he was good. He was able to make Christian tap out with that arm lock that he does. And then Cody Rhodes comes out and attacks Christian because Cody Rhodes was their Intercontinental Championship. But for Cody, excuse me, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, so if I messed something up, forgive me. Cody Rhodes was the Intercontinental Champion before Christian returned a couple weeks ago. And then it showed, then after that, a video segment of AJ back, which AJ has been doing over the week. Like I said in all my videos, you have to check him out on my channel. It's a four-way love triangle going on. AJ, CM Punk, Kane, and Daniel Bryan. So they basically showing the highlights of that. AJ is sort of bad. Like, she cost Kane the match like 2 times. She cost Daniel Bryan. I wouldn't say she cost Daniel Bryan, but she's been associated with bad luck. She hasn't really done anything bad towards CM Punk yet. And then it was Kane versus Daniel Bryan. I noticed Kane was doing some of the Undertaker moves. Really, like the way the Undertaker squares up in a match. Watch any of the Undertaker's matches. When he squares up, he wears the boxing gloves because you know he's a big boxing fan. If you haven't known that, now you know. He was doing when the match first started, he had the Undertaker stance. It wasn't the Undertaker though. And then you know what a classic move the Undertaker does? When someone hits him, he grabs them and then throws them into the turnbuckle and just unleashes punches. That's what happens. Kane does that. I saw 2 Undertaker moves. Then a side note, AJ was the timekeeper, so she was the one that rang the bell, and when the match starts and when the match ends. Well, not when the match ends. Yeah, when the match ends. She was the timekeeper. Kane was able to pull off a huge choke slam. But at one point during the match, Bryan had Kane in a submission, and Kane, he wasn't tapping. His hand was like this. It was like this. It wasn't tapping. He was reaching for the ropes, but he did it like this. A tap is like, he did like this, like that. AJ thought he was tapping out. She rung the bell. The referee told her that he wasn't tapping out. He's reaching for the rope. The match restarted, and Kane won. So that was basically the end of that. Then they showed the scene went backstage. It showed Mick Foley. Like I said, we didn't see him for the first 30 minutes of the show. He also happened to be from Long Island, from Zack Ryder. Now, if you watch my Raw review, if you didn't check it out on my channel, you would notice I was mad because Raw took place in Long Island, New York, where Zack Ryder is from. Now, Zack Ryder has been on Superstars, which is like WWE's dumpster. But I think he should have been on Raw because that was his hometown. Superstars was taped in Long Island also, but Superstars is in the main show. SmackDown and Raw are the main show. He did get to be on Superstars in his hometown, but he should have been on Raw. That was his hometown. WWE could at least did that. He was on SmackDown also. So I guess that kind of makes up for it since he's normally on Superstars. And that's online. It's not even on TV anymore. I would be ashamed to be on Superstars. But SmackDown was in Baltimore and Raw was in Long Island, New York. Normally they're closer than that. SmackDown should have been somewhere in New York or Pennsylvania, but all the way down to Maryland, that's kind of a big distance. The shows are normally closer together, but he should have been on Raw because that was his hometown. But he's on Superstar, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. I did that in my Raw review, so Mick Foley comes out. Hopefully he'll be the Raw general manager and Teddy Long has SmackDown. And then Heath Slater comes out. If Heath Slater was and Cindy Crawford, I hope I'm saying that name right. Cindy, I don't know. It's too early in the morning. Uh, they had an incident on where she smashed a record against his head. You want to know what happened? You have to check out my Raw review because that's Raw, and I want to keep it on Raw. This is SmackDown. So he comes out and interrupts. And you know what? Basically, he ends up. Mick Foley sends him against Zack Ryder. And Zack Ryder is able to pull off the win. It's good because Zack Ryder and Mick Foley are both from Long Island, New York. And then after that, after the commercial goes off, the scene is backstage. Foley and Ryder are backstage when Damien Sandow comes out of nowhere. Damien Sandow, the guy who wears the pink underwear and the purple knee pads. He reminds me of Chris Masters. Tell me his entrance doesn't remind you of Chris Masters. He reminds me of Chris Masters, who was released last year. They really didn't do nothing. He just downgrades Mick Foley and Zack Ryder like he does everybody. And then the Usos versus Primetime. Primetime, Titus Young and Darren O'Neil. Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, my bad. With AW, AW was the former. I don't even know who this guy is. He just walks around backstage. For like a whole month, he was with Epico and Primo. And then, for some reason, at No Way Out, he just switched sides because he saw how talented Primetime was. They went against the Usos. And they dominated. They're a good team. They could be tag team champions. Not yet. I say give them 2 more months of working on their in-ring skills. They could be Primetime, the next tag team champions. And then at the end of the match, my bad. Okay, yeah. At the end of the match, they're backstage. Epico and Primo attack Primetime, aka Titus O'Neil and Darren Young and AW backstage. You know next week they're going to have a feud on SmackDown. It's going to be Epico and Primo versus Primetime. That's going to happen next week. You heard it here first. Blooper alert. They're going to have a match next week on SmackDown. Can guarantee it. And then the main event was Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler. It was a good match. It was 11 minutes total. When Sheamus came out, he had a good reaction from the crowd. Good Baltimore people. He had a good reaction. It was 11 minutes. I skipped the match, but I'll get back to it. And Sheamus was able to pull off the win for Bro Kick. Sheamus wins. But before that, it wasn't a match. It was a little segment. It was Santino comes out. He basically wanted to see. This was kind of set up, I guess. Cause I don't think the way that happened, it just seemed too scripted. Santino came out. He wanted to see who had the best sign. I liked it because it showed everybody's sign. They should do this every week on SmackDown. Just pan the camera around like they do the Kiss camera and see who has the best sign. So they show signs of John Cena, Sheamus, everybody. And they get to this one that says, I heart Santino. And Santino's looking around, and there's this lady. She had this lipstick on. Remember that. She comes out. She comes into the ring. I don't know if this was scripted or not, but it seemed like it. She comes into the ring. She has this Cobra thing on. She has the Santino shirt on. It could have been scripted. No, I don't know if it was scripted or not. You tell me after watching it. It looked kind of set up, but then again, because she had this shirt, she had the Cobra thing on. She could have just been an obsessed fan. I don't know. It could have been scripted, but yeah, it had to be scripted. I'm saying it was scripted. Because he just comes out and does a random sign thing in this lady. That had to be scripted. Okay, you tell me. Your opinion. I don't know. Santino's and the lady says hi. She grabs him and kisses him. She left all this lipstick on him. Santino passes out. he becomes paralyzed in the middle of the ring. Not literally, but he just doesn't move. And that was it. That was the All of SmackDown. The Sheamus versus Ziggler, and Sheamus beat Ziggler with the Brogue Kick. Ziggler has been impressive. He's more impressive without Vicky and Swagger holding him down. Ziggler and Swagger are actually more successful when they're not together. When they're together, they don't really do anything. So Ziggler needs to branch off and Swagger needs to branch off, and they will be successful individuals. That was it. I gave SmackDown an 8.5 out of 10. For one, the Big Show didn't have a full match. Bros Clay didn't have a full match. I like Bros Clay entrance. That livened up SmackDown. Didn't see that. There was no Ryback. Even though he had squash matches, I like seeing Ryback on SmackDown. And there was no Sin Cara. Sin Cara wasn't on SmackDown last week either. He wasn't on Raw. So Sin Cara has missed 2 SmackDowns. So, no Ryback, no Sin Cara. The Big Show and Bros Clay did fight, but that was like for 2 or 3 minutes. I would like to see the Big Show in a match and Bros Clay in a match separate. Then I'd like to see Ryback and Sin Cara. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It wasn't... Last week was better, because last week had CM Punk and John Cena on there. That SmackDown was good. This one is downgraded. It was just... Yeah, Mick Foley was there, but it wasn't horrible. But last week's SmackDown was better. I enjoyed last week's. Hopefully next week Sin Cara will be on there. We'll get to see Ryback on next week. Bros Clay, I like to see his entrance. That's the only thing I like about him. And the Big Show will be on there. So that's the only reason I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It could have been better, but that's my SmackDown review. The earliest one. I hope I'm the first reviewer doing this. 6:20 a.m. About to go to sleep. I'm not sure if I'm doing any videos this weekend, but check out my channel. This Monday I will be doing a review for Raw, like I always do every Monday. That'll be my 6th week doing it. If you missed last Monday Night Raw, check that out on my channel. I did a Superstars review, and for my TNA fans, I did a TNA Impact review. I did this SmackDown review, and Monday I'm doing a Raw review. So that's basically it. This video is kind of shorter than my last one, but SmackDown wasn't as interesting as it was last week. But if you like this video, you can like it. Dislike the video, you can dislike it. Leave a comment. You can leave what you rate SmackDown, or leave a comment or whether if you agree or disagree with anything that I said in the review, or you want to give your opinion or whatnot. Let me see. You have to check out my channel. All the videos on my channel. Yeah, everything wrestling related. If you ever miss a show, if you ever want to find out about anything, everything is on my channel. So, gotta make sure you look on there. And today's Friday, so have fun and make sure you subscribe.